So, Guts leaves. This decision is one of the most important moments in Berserk, because Guts leaving is what eventually breaks Griffith. Before moving on, we need to talk about Casca. Casca is the only female commander in the Band of the Hawk. She's tough and disciplined and deeply loyal to Griffith. Casca was born poor, almost sold off as a sex slave by her family. Griffith saves her, gives her a sword, and gives her purpose. She becomes devoted to him, not just as a leader, but both emotionally and romantically. But Griffith never reciprocates in a healthy way. He cares about Casca, but his dream always comes first. When Guts leaves, Casca is furious at him. But over time, when Guts returns later, they bond deeply. Their relationship grows into something real, which makes what happens later even worse. After Guts leaves, Griffith is heartbroken. He sneaks into the castle and sleeps with Princess Charlotte, the king's daughter, out of desperation and wounded pride. But he gets caught and thrown into the dungeon, and tortured for a year. His tendons are ruined, his tongue is damaged. Basically, his body is totally destroyed. His dream is effectively over. Meanwhile, the Band of the Hawk is declared traitors and hunted down. Casca keeps them alive as fugitives, barely surviving. Guts eventually returns, saves them, and rescues Griffith from prison. But here's the thing. Griffith is already broken beyond repair. Griffith possesses a strange object called a behelit, an egg-shaped artifact that cries blood. When Griffith realizes he can never achieve his dream as a human, he reaches absolute despair. And that's when the eclipse happens. The sky turns red, reality collapses, and then the God Hand appear. They offer Griffith a choice: sacrifice the Band of the Hawk, and be reborn as a demon king. Griffith accepts. Every single member of the Band of the Hawk is slaughtered and eaten by apostles. Griffith is now reborn as Femto. He rapes Casca directly in front of Guts. Guts loses an eye and an arm trying to stop it. Guts and Casca survives but are branded with the brand of sacrifice, which attracts monsters constantly. Casca's mind is completely shattered after the eclipse. She regresses to a childlike state, unable to process what happened. Guts for years becomes a walking embodiment of rage. He hunts apostles relentlessly, wielding a giant sword called Dragon Slayer. The more Guts embraces rage, the more he loses himself. Guts meets characters like Puck, Farnese, Serpico, Isidro, and later Shirka. Guts chooses to protect Casca instead of chasing revenge. Shirka helps Guts control the Berserker armor, which amplifies his strength at the cost of destroying his body and sanity. Griffith is reborn into the physical world through a twisted incarnation ceremony. He becomes a messianic figure, forming Falconia, a new empire. People worship him. The world sees Griffith as a savior, while Guts knows he's a monster. Eventually, Guts brings Casca to Elfhelm, where her mind is restored. Casca regains her memories, and cannot bear to look at Guts, because he reminds her of the eclipse.